Hi, I'm Barry Ostrowski. At Barnabas Health, we believe citizens need to be informed about the important healthcare issues affecting their lives. That's why we're proud to support healthcare programming produced by the CAUCUS Educational Corporation and their partners on public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Barnabas Health. Life is better healthy. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey. Investors Bank. PSE&G. Committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. The Russell Berry Foundation. NJ Best. New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. Turn a dream into a degree. And by Verizon. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com. And by NJ Biz. All business, all New Jersey.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this.
You
got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No. People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
We are pleased to welcome our colleague here on public television, Joanna Gagis, who is the host and executive producer of Life and Living, which can be seen on NJTV Saturdays at?
Saturdays at 2 p.m.
Sundays?
Sunday at 11 a.m.
Also FiOS?
On FiOS, we've got a lot of options. We've got 9 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. on Saturdays, and on Sundays, 11:30 a.m. and p.m.
What are you going to plug
all
the
over
whole
the
time?
place, you know?
I wanted to have Joanna on because you see a lot of networks do this, cross-promote each other, but they have less interesting people on. And also, I feel like people who watch you on Life and Living and know that you are, you may know from the credits, Joanna is the head of programming at our corporation, executive producer of all programming and involved in all kinds of things. I always think it's interesting for people to get to know who someone is behind the credits and who someone is once they see you as a host. You have 2 young children.
I do.
Talk about them.
Little girl, Juliana Joy. She really is our joy. She's the best. 2.5 years old. Wise beyond her years. She's already debating me. My mother says I deserve it, but she's, a smart little thing and is going to take over the world, and I'm pretty sure she'll probably take over one of our jobs soon.
What do you love most about her? Because one of the videos, we send video about our children a lot.
Yes, we do.
The one video that I love the most is when she started naming
the capitals.
The capitals of each state.
So, yeah.
At what age again?
We've got to take the show to Ellen because at, I think, 1.5 years, she was already learning some capitals. She knew New Jersey and New York, and now she's 2.5, and she knows, I think, 15 capitals. Unless, she's not in the mood to play, and then the capital is poopy.
Yes,
but that's what
yes.
happens in our house. I'm sure that kind of thing happens at your house.
And your son?
My son is 6 months old, and Nicholas is just a sweet, sweet, happy little boy. And, everyone asks, and I'm sure moms always get asked this question, because I get asked it by everybody, but what's the difference between a girl and a boy? Do you feel different with a boy? And, you don't love any of your children more than the other. You don't. But you do have different relationships with each of your kids. And my daughter is my little girl, and we share a bond that my husband will never share with her because we're girls and we can do our girl things together. But with a boy, there is something there too. It's just a different kind of relationship.
We'll talk about Life and Living in a second, but you would not be able to do everything you do professionally. The balancing act is not easy, and a whole bunch of folks watching, particularly women who are dealing with that constant balancing act. How important is it to have a supportive and involved husband, Nick?
Or spouse, yeah.
Or spouse, any significant other, right?
I couldn't do it without Nick. And, it's a whole family dynamic. They say it takes a village to raise a family, and it does. But the immediate need, to have a spouse who understands the challenges of a work, especially in the job that we're in. There are some days that are excruciatingly long, and I may not see the kids. There are days where I won't see them.
I'm sorry, did you say excruciatingly long?
Well, you know.
No, I don't.
I'm sorry. Is it harder for the producers?
They are long days.
They are long days. When you work in television, they're long days. There are a lot of jobs that have demanding hours, and it's not just us in TV. But I couldn't do it without my husband. There are days when he's cooking dinner, and he might not be the happiest that day, but he's cooking dinner and he's changing diapers and he's up with the kids in the morning, you know, when I'm out. So,
and he's in real estate.
And he's in real estate, and he, you know, we have that flexibility where he can make his own hours. But his job is demanding too. So.
And let's talk about this, because you do talk to a lot of women, talk to men and women on life and living, but the women you talk to about the challenges they face, what kinds of themes? Because a lot of life and living is about the challenges that people face, and a whole range of other issues, fun stuff as well, but those challenges.
Sure, and we love covering women's issues because, you know, listen, the proverbial glass ceiling is still there. And as women, I think we have to ask ourselves, what do we want out of our lives in a different way than men do? You know, a man will never have to. It's very different, yeah. I think, yes, I think very different. I'll go that far.
Go ahead.
You know, more and more, I think men want to be centered in the family in a way that they didn't used to be. So I think women have more support. But I think that the feelings and the emotions will never go away of really wanting to have both a family and a career. And so I think women experience guilt in a way that men won't.
And a lot of the guests you have, women who are professionals in all walks of life, on life and living, talk about that.
They do. They do, and there are still issues. I mean, you know, we could politicize this, but income inequality is still an issue. And so for women, I think just wanting to engage in the same way that a man can and wanting things to feel the same way that it can feel for a man, but then understanding that either we're not there yet and we still have strides to make, or it may never be the same for a man and a woman, and kind of grappling with that and understanding it. So yeah, we love to cover women's issues and all the things that women experience, and not just moms, you know, working women who don't have families. I mean, it's women's issues across the board.
And some of those issues involve flexibility. Joanna, just, and this is not I'm gonna make this such a private thing, but you had to make some tough decisions, and you recently, as we were starting the new year in 2016, said, look, I want to make some I have to make some tough choices, and you created a more flexible schedule.
Yes.
Where there was some time that you needed to be with your family.
Yes.
But still have this ridiculous workload.
Right. Right, that didn't change. Just the hours
exactly.
changed. And, you know, one of the things that I think women look for are, you know, jobs that will be flexible with them, that understand that I might do some work on a Saturday morning, or I might do it Friday when the kids go to bed, or any night of the week when the kids go to bed. But, you know, a workplace that encourages that flexibility and that allows that flexibility. And, you know, to your credit, there are a lot of women working here in the organization who have that kind of flexibility. So we have that supportive culture at the CAC, but not all women do.
But I think more and more organizations are realizing that. By the way, a lot of your segments that I love on Saturdays and Sundays, particularly on public television and FiOS as well, a lot of cooking, chef-related segments. Talk about it real quick.
Yeah, one of my favorite things, because I love food. And I'm a New Jerseyan, and I love when...
You're a foodie?
I'm a foodie.
Go ahead.
But I love when New Jersey is competing in the food market, because people think they have to go to New York and they don't. And so we have actually Amanda Freitag on the program, who is one of the judges from Chopped and is a Jersey girl. She is working primarily in New York. But Ryan DiPerzio, who's right here in Jersey City, running Batello, beautiful restaurant right on the water. Nico in Newark, he's got his hands in everything. There are so many great restaurants right here in New Jersey. You don't have to go to New York.
And destinations as well. You've done a lot of destination stuff.
Love the destinations. That's one of my favorites. We've got Mountain Creek Ski Resort. You can go skiing. There's summer activities when the weather's warm down the shore. I mean, there's, you know, any number of activities down the shore. You want to see arts and culture, go to the George Street Playhouse in New Brunswick. Go to the Paper Mill Playhouse in Millburn. I mean, there's so many great things to do right here in New Jersey.
Life and Living also deals with medical health-related issues, right?
Yes, a lot of health and wellness. A lot of...
Geared more toward women?
Not necessarily, no. No, yeah, we do cover it from a women's perspective. A lot of breast cancer, you know, issues and
awareness,
and things that women may not be thinking of. Pelvic floor dysfunction. Who wants to talk about that? Nobody. Exactly.
What? But important.
But they're important issues. They're important issues. But you know, how to live your best life. Yoga, healthy eating. You know, raising our kids to be healthy eaters, to be active, to get up and get moving. So. Family.
Real quick before I get out of here, how much when you're doing the show are you thinking about your own stuff, meaning stuff that interests you that you think would also potentially, because half the time I'm like, Joanna, or Jen Eichlin, our executive producer, one-on-one, I just came across a book that, I just came across this or that, or Do you think of the same thing?
I think that if you truly love your job, you're really tied to it and you're connected to it. So you're drawing from your personal experience and you want something that you're interested in to come across to your viewers because for whatever reason you think they should be interested in it too. So yeah, I think they're very much tied together.
All right, last question. One thing that the viewers on public television and FiOS would never know about Joanna Gagis, but you're about to share right now.
Ooh, you're putting me on the spot. There's lots of things.
This is. Yeah, you mentioned Ellen before. This is an Ellen show, Ellen question, or an Oprah, or a Howard Stern type question. One thing they would not know you're going to share right now. They'd be surprised at.
You know, all right, maybe not surprised, but I'm going to give it up. I wasn't born in New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl who wasn't born in New Jersey. I'm from Illinois, but no one would ever know because all I do is talk about this state.
You were born in Illinois.
I was. I came here when I was 4. So not born, but bred.
And you got your passport when? But you are born, she may not be born here, but you are definitely a Jersey girl.
That's true, yeah.
Joanna Gagis can be seen, Life and Living, public television, NJTV, when again?
Saturdays, 2 p.m., Sundays, 11 a.m.
Do FiOS again.
And FiOS, we've got 9 a.m., 12:30 p.m. on Saturdays, and then Sundays, 11:30 a.m. and p.m.
There'll be a test later. Thank you, Joanna. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Check her out. See you guys right after this.
Visit us online at steveadubato.org. Email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/SteveAdubato, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to welcome Chanel Zeisel, who is a general manager of Citi Bike Jersey City. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Tell folks what Citi Bike is.
Citi Bike is Jersey City's bike share program. We have a reciprocal relationship with the New York City Bike Share, which means that in total there are over 500 bike share stations and over 8,000 bikes that are available to members of the system.
Now, I don't want to assume, Chanel, that people know what a bike share program really is. Explain it.
Sure. So a bike share program is, it's basically another mode of transportation. So what's great is if you think about, you have, your trains, you have the bus system. This is an additional mode of transportation that is actually working in conjunction with those other systems to provide a multimodal number of options for people to get around in their urban environments.
So, okay, play this out for those who may not know the topography of Jersey City. Mm-hmm. Why Jersey City?
So Jersey City was a really natural fit for a bike share. And for a couple of reasons. One, it's relatively dense, and relatively flat as well.
A lot of people in a small area.
Right.
It's pretty flat too, no?
It is pretty flat. There are a couple of hills, but I think that you kind of work up to them.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, but it's also the second. I want to make it clear because we're seeing it in a lot of different states. It is the second largest city, second most populated, if you will, city in the state of New Jersey to Newark, New Jersey. And Mayor Stephen Fulop is interested in this initiative as well, correct?
Correct. So he's actually a cyclist and triathlete himself, I believe. And he was really progressive in seeing bike share as a way to bring...
a picture of him right there. So he's into this. Go ahead.
Oh, he loves it, yeah. It was a very progressive vision of his to bring bike share to Jersey City, and it's part of making the city more livable. It's part of the renaissance that he's looking at developing, both commercially and economically, but also for people to enjoy their urban environment. So
let's talk about a little of the benefits. Break this down a little bit.
Sure.
Because those of us who are in and around Manhattan, like you see the bikes all over.
Right.
But to get the 35 bikes in Jersey City, explain to us some of the real tangible benefits. Now, there are obviously health benefits.
Obviously.
To those who are riding the bikes. But what are some of the other benefits?
So I think the number one benefit is really price. I mean, bike share is incredibly cheap. It's $14.95 a month if you're an annual member.
So how do you do it? You say, I want to sign up.
You come to our website. It's www.citibikejc.com.
Okay.
You can sign up for an annual membership there if you're ready to commit.
Right.
If you're interested in trying the system out, you can go to any one of the 35 stations we have in Jersey City. Our map is visible on the website as well. And you can purchase a day pass or even a week-long pass at any of the stations.
And so, okay, let's keep talking about the benefits. What about the economic benefits for businesses, say, geographically located near a place where, I mean, because I'm thinking the bike shares, like where you dock the bike is only in certain places, right?
Absolutely. So we have, the same way you would have a bus station, you have a bike station. So there are 35 bike stations located in all 6 wards of Jersey City. There have been a number of studies done in other cities with developed bike shares, not just in the US, but also in Europe, showing that businesses located in close vicinity to these bike share stations actually do experience benefits for obvious reasons. There's traffic, it creates a transportation node. But I think there are also some other things that are really obvious that we don't think about. It's physical exercise.
That's right.
It actually makes you hungry.
What do you mean?
Bikers eat more.
So they're riding around and they want to eat more. So the restaurants.
Exactly. You need a snack.
The restaurants will do better as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Coffee.
Exactly.
All of it, yeah.
The economics of running such an operation, describe it.
Sure. So bike share would not be possible in any way, shape, or form without having sponsors who are committed to what the program symbolizes and actually helping it come to life
What do you mean
in the urban environment. So here in Jersey City, we have our main sponsor is Verizon Foundation.
Right.
And they really enabled us to bring this program here, which it would not be possible without sponsor funding.
So, okay, it's interesting. They're committed to it for health-related reasons or whatever it is.
Well, I think Verizon really recognized the opportunity in Jersey City because you have a real opportunity to take and just revolutionize the way that people are moving through the environment.
It's really revolutionizing?
Absolutely. And I don't just mean that as the pun. There's so many bike share puns.
Yeah, okay. It really changes dramatically.
The journey of 1,000 steps starts with the single step. And I think that for a lot of people, what's so interesting about bike share is, and so many stories that I hear when I talk to people about how bike share has really influenced them, and my own personal interaction with it, is that, hey, I started using it, I started riding to work once a week, and it was a 10-minute ride. And because I was doing that, I said, one good thing leads to another. I maybe started to eat a little bit more healthfully because I was a little more conscious of what I was doing. Or, I increased my physical activity in other ways. We had an amazing tweet a few days ago from one of our riders who said, I rode Citi Bike to the gym and then I rode Citi Bike home. That was a triple workout.
That's great.
It was amazing.
It could change people's lives. Before I let you out of here,
yeah.
There are environmental benefits as well. Let's be
Absolutely.
clear. Because the fewer cars on the road, the more people are riding their bikes, obviously there are environmental benefits, right?
I mean, I think that's one of the wonderful things about bike share is that you don't have to use it to benefit from it. If you live in a city with bike share, the people in your community who are using it are decreasing the pollution they're creating, which benefits you as another person in the community. So you could be a pedestrian, anyone who lives in a congested area that's subject to a lot of traffic, that traffic is decreasing when you add a bike share to the equation.
Okay, so you're born and raised in?
Honolulu.
Honolulu. We happen to be taping in our studio here in beautiful Paterson, New Jersey. And we're in the winter of 2016. There's a little bit of snow that happened this morning. You told our producers you were considering, yeah, you know where I'm going. You were considering biking, but it was a little too dangerous. If it were a nice day, would you have?
Oh, I would have biked today. I hadn't ridden to Paterson before, and I wanted to bring a city bike for you today. So.
But otherwise, you would have done it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You're a cyclist.
I looked it up. I'm a cyclist.
You looked it up. You looked how far?
I did.
I love it.
I was like, well, if I go up to Fort Lee and then just head west.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, listen, we love having you in from Honolulu. How long have you been in here?
In the tri-state area.
Well, I know you went to Columbia, and then you're here, and then you're part of this operation.
So about 14 years on the East Coast now.
Good. Well, we love having you here.
Thank you
Chanel
so much. Zeisel,
who is general manager of Citi Bike JC, Jersey City. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Appreciate it. Stay with us. We're right back right after this.
Visit us online at steveadubato.org. Email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/SteveAdubatoPhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to welcome Steve Cohen, technology teacher, Applied Technology High School at Bergen Community College and president of the Drone User Group Network. Good to see you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
All about drones, robotics. What do we have, by the way? Let's grab a shot of this. We do not have any drones here. We have great camera people, great crew. They're going to take some shots here.
Yep.
What are we looking at here? I'm blown away by these drones. I don't know. I'm a little nervous. I'm looking here, but I see myself.
Right.
Why?
Because this drone that's powered up here has a camera on the bottom. They actually both have cameras, but this one's
They're
powered.
not taking my picture.
Well, we could be. We're not recording right now. How about?
Don't freak me out here. Stop.
Now we are. Yeah.
You serious? So what do they do?
Well, these two drones are really kind of part and parcel of the same market. The smaller one is a DJI Phantom, and this is kind of the entry level for people who don't want to build their own. Back long time ago, 3 years ago, when this stuff was just starting to come into the fore, you really had to build your own.
Right.
And then DJI kind of did a game changer and made it so it was a finely tuned aircraft that just did it all. This larger one is more of what I would call a prosumer model, where you can actually have someone operating the vehicle and someone else operating camera. So they're both really geared towards aerial cinematography.
Tell me about tell us about the program you run.
Sure, yeah. I work for BCC, but I also work for Bergen County Technical Schools.
Right.
There's a brand new high school called Applied Tech High,
right.
Based out of BCC. And we're teaching our applied technology students all about engineering technology, engineering design, and using unmanned autonomous systems like these, like underwater ROVs, remotely operated vehicles, and also ground-based rovers, things like that. And then our BCC students are doing some of their own builds. Bergen Community
You're
College,
using
yes.
the term applied. Mm-hmm. What does it mean and why is it so important to you?
Well, the difference between applied technology and engineering, or engineering technology and just straight up engineering, is that the straight up engineering is more theoretical.
Right.
Let's build an experiment, let's see what it does. Whereas the applied aspect is more about, let's make things that work. Let's actually apply the technology.
Hands-on?
Hands-on, yeah. Everything.
What do they get out of that?
They get the ability to work in teams. I come from a real business background. I'm actually kind of new to the teaching game.
Right.
But what I do bring to the teaching game is that you're never working in an isolated situation. You've got clients, you've got account people, you've got all kinds of people that you got to work with, and you may not like those people, but you still got to work with them.
You're on a team.
You're on a team.
You're dealing with clients.
Right. So the whoever's pulling their
real life.
Exactly. So we model our laboratory. We break our kids up into teams. We set them apart. There's actually something called the shell model of systems integration: software, hardware, environment, and liveware. And these kids, they shift roles. They get used to doing different things. They throw things back and forth. They're doing prototyping first with corrugated cardboard and tape, and then we use 3D printing and a laser cutter. And lo and behold, they've got some kind of product. We partner with Stryker Corporation this semester. They gave our kids an assignment. And then
hold on, what kind of assignment? Actually, they had to complete a project?
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this was a brand new program, brand new high school, but we really want to partner with industry. So we took the kids up to Stryker. They got their business attire on. It's client meeting.
Yeah.
It was great.
What experience.
Amazing.
What do they get out of that?
They walked out of there so enthused about what they were starting to do that you drive up 17, you see the Stryker sign, you don't really know what it is.
Right.
But you go in there, it's an 11-acre facility under one roof. It's got its own forge. It's got its own, it's just amazing, the technology.
And the students were involved there.
Well, they weren't involved there. What we did was...
But they understood what it was they were doing.
Yes.
And why it's significant.
Yes.
What they're producing.
Yep.
And how they could potentially...
This is the farm team. This is the farm team for Stryker.
But you know what's interesting? I also heard that in order for you to do certain things that you wanted to do with these students, certain activities, the FAA had to be involved.
Yes. This is a moving target. This is something that is not...
Meaning because it's new.
So we are in the Model T stage of this technology, if we wanted to analogize to the automobile.
That early on?
I think so.
Why do you say that?
Because the technology's ahead of the regulation. And it's causing people to get very scared who make buggy whips. So traditional aviators, traditional aviation, not so sure what to make of it. Listen, we all want safe skies. That's
right.
a given. But there was just a bill in Congress put forth about setting forth what they're calling the micro or small UAS rule, meaning anything under 4.4 pounds, 2 kilos, which is basically what that Phantom is, would not require
Which
any...
one, the white one?
The white one, yeah.
Okay.
Would not require any training, any licensing.
Are you okay with that?
I think I am. I mean, I think it's a good direction because they don't realize how stifling it is to do, to have to go through hoops to operate something that's kind of a toy.
Steve, I just want to make sure of something, though.
Yeah?
Where do you believe the line is between innovation and safety?
That's a really good question.
Is it case by case, really?
I feel uncomfortable answering in the way that you're asking because I think that there's, people do dumb things with cars. People do, it's...
There are all kinds of regulations about cars.
Yes, there are, and there are going to be all kinds of regulations about drones.
You think there are going to be way more regulations about drones?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, what we're dealing with right now is stopgap measures. Right. We have, the FAA is saying, in order to operate a drone commercially, now we're talking about somebody contacts me and wants me to fly around their home and for real estate, let's say, whatever. If you're giving me $1, you're buying me lunch, you're paying my car fare, that's a commercial operation in the eyes of the FAA, right? So that is a higher moral hazard in the sense that when you're being paid for something.
Real quick, before I get it, the jobs that these young people could potentially get moving forward. Okay, real quick, 30 seconds, go.
Logistics, precision agriculture, mapping and survey work, anything from factory floor to mapping the ocean floor.
All kinds of careers.
All kinds of things. This is not limited to the air. This is really about autonomous systems.
Steve Cohen, technology teacher, Applied Technology High School at Bergen Community College, and president of the Drone User Group Network. Big stuff.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That was good.
Pleasure.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Barnabas Health, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Investors Bank, PSE&G, the Russell Berry Foundation, NJ Best, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
First steps, first day of school, first game. When their first day of college arrives, will you be able to pay for it? NJ Best can help. It is the 529 college savings plan for New Jersey families, and you can start saving today with as little as $25. To learn about NJ Best 529 college savings plan, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, read the Investor Handbook available at 877-755-GRAD or njbest.com.